America is already great. America is already strong. And I promise you, our strength, our greatness, does not depend on Donald Trump.
China has virtually total control over North Korea, but they say they don't because they want to tweak us. Look at our president. They wouldn't even give him stairs to come out of Air Force One. Okay? All right? And they probably say on that, gee, we couldn't get him there, you know. When I saw that yesterday, did everybody see that? Where he couldn't get off the plane? So he had to get off on the kind that dropped down, but that's really meant for the crew. That's so that when they fix the plane, they go up on those stairs. The whole thing is just, it's insane. You know, it's interesting with the president, because I saw that yesterday with the stairs. He went to Saudi Arabia and the top people didn't greet him, right? He went to Cuba and Castro, the brother, was not there to greet him. And I said to myself, you know, if that happened, I'd land, I'd hear he's not there to pay respect to the country, not to him, to pay respect to our country. I would say, thank you very much, fellas. That's okay. Close it up. Boom. Let's go back to Washington. I would.
In fact, it doesn't depend on any one person. And that, in the end, may be the biggest difference in this election. The meaning of our democracy. Ronald Reagan called America a shining city on a hill. Donald Trump calls it a divided crime scene that only he can fix. It doesn't matter to him that illegal immigration and the crime rate are as low as they've been in decades, because he's not actually offering any real solutions to those issues. He's just offering slogans, and he's offering fear. He's betting that if he scares enough people, he might score just enough votes to win this election.
And then we land on Air Force One. And I was saying, in the history of Air Force One, which is long and distinguished, these are the only 3 times where incidents like this have taken place. Think of it. Lands in Cuba, doesn't have high officials to greet him. Lands in Saudi Arabia, which we protect. If we didn't protect Saudi Arabia, they would be gone. Okay, they would be gone. But lands in Saudi Arabia, and they don't have the high officials to greet him. The highest officials. And I said to myself, that's probably the only time in the history of Air Force One where it goes into a country, lands, and you don't have the appropriate officials to greet.
And that's another bet that Donald Trump will lose. And the reason he'll lose it is because he's selling the American people short. We're not a fragile people. We're not a frightful people. Our power doesn't come from some self-declared savior promising that he alone can restore order as long as we do things his way. We don't look to be ruled.
And I watched President Obama today, and he was more angry at me than he was at the shooter. And many people said that. One of the folks on television said, boy, has Trump gotten under his skin. But he was more angry, and a lot of people have said this, the level of anger, that's the kind of anger he should have for the shooter and these killers that shouldn't be here.
The notion that he would attack a Gold Star family that had made such extraordinary sacrifices on behalf of our country. The fact that he doesn't appear to have basic knowledge around critical issues means that he's woefully unprepared to do this job.
He has done such a lousy job as president. You look at our budgets, you look at our spending, we can't beat ISIS. Obamacare is terrible. We're going to terminate it. We're going to absolutely terminate and replace it. I mean, you look at everything. Our borders are like Swiss cheese. This man has done such a bad job. He has set us back so far. And for him to say that actually is a great compliment, if you want to know the truth. And we just got a call on it coming over. The bridge is like packed, just so you understand. We were like in that car a long time. But we just gave one of the major networks called, and they wanted a response. And I said, you're lucky I didn't run last time when Romney ran, because you would have been a one-term president. That was my statement to him.
As far as Mr. Trump, I think I've already offered my opinion. I don't think the guy's qualified to be president of the United States. And every time he speaks, that opinion is confirmed. And I think the most important thing for the public and the press is to just listen to what he says and follow up and ask questions about what appear to be either contradictory or uninformed or outright wacky ideas. There is this process that seems to take place over the course of the election season where somehow behavior that in normal times we would consider completely unacceptable and outrageous becomes normalized.
ISIS is honoring President Obama. He is the founder. He founded ISIS. And I would say the co-founder would be crooked Hillary Clinton.
And people start thinking that we should be grading on a curve. But I can tell you from the interactions that I've had over the last 8 or 9 days with foreign leaders that this is serious business. And you actually have to know what you're talking about, and you actually have to have done your homework. And when you speak, it should actually reflect thought-out policy that you can implement. And I have confidence that if, in fact, people just listen to what he has to say and look at his track record or lack thereof, that they'll make a good decision.
Cancel unconstitutional executive orders and enforce all immigration laws. We will immediately terminate President Obama's 2 illegal executive amnesties in which he defied federal law and the Constitution to give amnesty to approximately 5 million illegal immigrants. 5 million.
You may have heard Hillary's opponent in this election say that there's never been a worse time to be a black person. I mean, he missed that whole civics lesson about slavery and Jim Crow. But we got a museum for him to visit, so he can tune in.
I call President Obama and Hillary Clinton the founders of ISIS. They're the founders. In fact, I think we'll give Hillary Clinton the, if you're on a sports team, most valuable player, MVP. You get the MVP award. ISIS will hand her the most valuable player award. Her only competition is Barack Obama.
We will educate him. He says we got nothing left to lose. So we might as well support somebody who has fought against civil rights and fought against equality and who has shown no regard for working people for most of his life.